Educated, the girl who never went to school entered Cambridge University and rewrote her destiny. Introduction. Imagine you grew up in a house without a school, without a proper birth certificate, without a doctor, without a hospital, without anyone to teach you that the world is bigger than the mountains around your house. You've never sat in a classroom, never taken a test, never known world history. You don't even know your exact birth date. If that were your life, would you dare believe that one day you would enter one of the most prestigious universities in the world? This is not a fairy tale. This is the life of Tara Westover. And while reading this book, I realized there are prisons not built of iron and steel. They were built on belief, on fear, and on the limitations that others placed on our lives. Chapter 1. A Different Childhood. Tara grew up amidst desolate mountains. Her family was almost completely isolated from society. Her father believed the outside world was dangerous. He didn't believe in the education system. He didn't believe in many modern institutions. Therefore, children grew up primarily through labor, the faith of their families, and what they learned on their own. Tara's day began with hard work, not with the sound of the school bell. What haunts me most is a child doesn't know what they are being deprived of, because if you've never seen a door, you won't know that it can open. Chapter 2. When the world has only one truth. Some people grow up with many different perspectives, but Tara grew up in a world with only one explanation. What is right? What is wrong? What is scary? What should be avoided? Everything already had a ready-made answer. But then, one day, questions began to arise. What if what I was taught wasn't the whole truth? What if there was another world out there? That was the first moment of awakening. Not noisy, but powerful enough to change her life. Chapter 3. The Desire to Learn. The strange thing is, no one forced Tara to learn. She herself yearned for it. Each book, each page, each new concept, they are all like a window opening to a vast sky. But learning is not just about memorizing knowledge. It's also a journey of confronting doubt. And enough, do I belong there? Will the past keep holding me back? Perhaps these are questions that many of us have asked ourselves. Chapter 4. The Price of Change. Every step Tara takes comes with a price. As she expands her world, the distance from her family grows. Not everyone is happy when you change. Sometimes, your growth makes others feel insecure. That's one of the most heartbreaking lessons of the book. There are journeys that require more than just courage to begin, but it also takes courage to accept loneliness. Chapter 5. Education is not just in the classroom. When Tara entered university, she didn't just study history. She didn't just study philosophy. She didn't just study science. She learned how to ask questions. She learned how to listen to different viewpoints. She learned how to change when new evidence emerged. That's the deeper meaning of education. It's not about turning you into a vessel full of knowledge, but about turning you into a person who can think independently. Chapter 6. The greatest battle takes place within. There are battles no one sees. There are no gunshots. There is no smoke or fire. Only one person standing between two worlds. One side is the past. One side is the future. One side is familiarity. On one side is the truth I'm gradually discovering. Tara has to learn to accept that. Loving someone doesn't mean you have to give up yourself. That was a lesson that left me speechless for a long time. Chapter 7. Knowledge is freedom. Some people think that education helps you get a better job. Tara made me understand that education brings something even more valuable. That is the right to decide your own life. When you have knowledge, you have more choices. When you have more choices, you have more freedom. And sometimes, freedom begins with just a book, a question, or a decision to never stop learning. Chapter 8. You are not your past. By the final chapters, I realized the best thing about Tara isn't that she studied at prestigious universities. The most admirable thing is that she dared to rewrite her own story. The past explains who you are, but it doesn't necessarily decide who you will become. That is the greatest strength of humanity, the ability to change. Conclusion. An inspirational message. When I closed the book, I no longer thought Learned was just a girl's story. It's the story of anyone who has ever felt they were born in the wrong place. Who's ever thought that circumstances determine their fate? Who has ever been afraid to step out of their comfort zone? Tara Westover doesn't promise that the path of learning will be easy. On the contrary, it may force you to confront difficult truths. It may force you to trade safety for growth. But that very journey helped her find her voice. If today you only remember one thing from this book, remember this: education isn't what happens in the classroom. Education is the moment you dare to question the limitations that once held you captive. You may not have grown up in the same circumstances as Tara, but we all carry with us invisible walls. Words we've heard saying we're not good enough, not smart enough, not lucky enough, not capable enough. Don't let those words become a sentence for your whole life. Read another book, learn a new skill, listen to a different perspective, and never stop being curious. Because knowledge doesn't just open the door to a career, it opens the door to freedom. There may be no miracles after you watch this video, but one thing will change: the way you see yourself. And sometimes, a new perspective is the starting point of a new destiny. Because ultimately, the most powerful thing education provides is not a diploma, but the courage to become the person you truly want to be. And perhaps that is the deepest meaning of being educated. Please subscribe to the channel to listen to great books every day. Thank you.